I open Google Scholar. So I already have Google Scholar here. So this is another database. Now we also have European PMC. Please let us make sure we're understanding this. This is another database. So when we talk about searching for articles, before we say we did not see any article, we must have done this thing now that I'm doing, so that we will now know if at all we saw or not. Now, because I'm also going to teach us how to use what we call EndNote. For some of us here that are not familiar with that, you can watch videos on that, but I'm still going to teach how we use it to search for articles. Take it from here, take it from here, and take it from here. Now, I'm also going to open what we call the Cochrane library. So because of the search string we use in Web of Science, I'm not going to use that for now. So this is it. So here we're going to search. So now listen. Okay, we can put this. Let's put advanced search. So this is it. Right, you can see I've conducted a search here already before. Now these are 4 databases. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now systematic reviews are very, very simple. Do you know why?
Sorry, innocent. I think this thing is running 11 minutes, so that will not cut off. So
okay,
just 11 minutes.
Tony, can you create? Okay, don't worry. I'll start again because I'm sure they are connecting to this meeting very well. So we don't have anything. So Tony, create. Tony. Yes, I was thinking you are going to share a link, your own link, but that's fine. I can still share another one now, so we can have the juicy session. Yeah. Okay, you just sent one to me now. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to. Okay. Yeah. That's a short. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yes, I would want to demonstrate that. I'm going to demonstrate that, but I think I just wanted to, I don't want us to have a cut and join session. So that's why we can quickly because I'm looking at ending this session very soon. Let us. All right, guys, please let's join completely. My name is Stanley now, and I want to. Oh God, my light! I don't even understand this thing. So now I want to write on monkeypox. So wherever we stop now, I will continue by explaining to you. Right? So that's what I want to write on. So and I want to use the PICO framework. PICO framework. So right. So I want to find out from studies. I want to do a systematic review around monkeypox, and I'm also looking at the year. I'm putting the year in consideration. And also I want to. I'm not like I'm putting the year in consideration now. I will deal with what on Monday. I'm going to show us how to extract references into EndNote, and from EndNote move it to Excel. But now what I want to explain now is the concept now, the entire concept that you need now to understand the basic step now that you need, because this whole process of identification of gap, a lot of people have had a lot of issues, and most times when they just bring a title and say, yeah, I want to work something around here, please can you help me identify the gap, and in like 3 hours I've told you that I haven't seen anything on this, but they are permanent studies, and everybody's like, how come, and all that. So that's what I want to show now. Now we want to work on monkeypox, right? And this is what we are considering. We are considering if it's going to lead us to this, or maybe it's going to be something that will require us using the spider framework. The spider framework, right? So now, first of all, what we need to do now is we need to do a lot of wider reading. Right now, we need to understand the terms, the mesh terms for what? For monkeypox. Let me do it in a layman's way now. So let's say, okay, yeah, we're looking at, oh God, I don't know this. Okay, let's say I want to search widely now using mpox and monkeypox now, for example. Oh God, I don't, which one is it, man? I don't know. For example, I want to just do that right now. So let me just, because I don't want to use bias in knowledge, to judge my gap in literature. So I'm going to concentrate now on just one database. I'm just going to concentrate on what do you call it? I'm just going to concentrate on PubMed. I'm assuming that I haven't done. We are assuming that none of us here knows about this now, right? So first of all, we want to know the available literature on monkeypox based on what? And now monkeypox now is a type of study that might involve. I hope I've cleared all my. Now monkeypox is a type of study now that might involve both human and animal studies. So mostly animal studies, will be in your inclusion and exclusion criteria. So, and the epidemiological term now of interest now is we have several epidemiological indices that we might use to exploit this. Might be prevalence, incidence, other terms like maybe some kind of epidemiological factors or terms that are important variables for us to, that are not just important variables, that are our phenomenon of interest. So I just put this now on just systematic reviews, right? Just like I said before, to look out, what has been done now. Databases are very, very, very essential for us to do what? For us to carry out, all sorts of, systematic review, evidence. So there are still other databases like the trial.gov. I haven't said anything about that. Clinicaltrial.gov. So here you look for what? We look for clinical trials. So we look for clinical trials in this. We look for clinical trials here. You register with them, and look out for randomized control trials that are available. Now, particularly when you're doing any study that deals with what effect of intervention, the same thing applies for Cochrane here. When we want to search for studies, we also search here to check out for what? Mostly what? Intervention what? Mostly for what? For intervention studies. So yeah, we seem to be at least complete. Now, so here now, looking at the example we have already running, before I look at what Stan has, where we'll expand and identify gaps in literature there, Now, the very first thing we need to understand is that for you to do anything in research, your supervisor will ask you or your reviewer or everybody is interested in knowing your search strategy. How have you been able to search for those studies, right? So you want to look at, let's say, for example, you're interested in love among adolescents. And you want to do a study on love now among adolescents. Now, you want to do a systematic review to review love among youths, right? Now, if you just come online here, you're interested in papers that were published 2020 and all that, and you come online, or maybe you're interested in papers that were published from 2013 to date, and you take this and come to Google Scholar here, you come to Google Scholar and paste it and search. You've got 1.2 million results. Now, Google Scholar searches on the title, abstract, keywords, and full text. So this is it. This is it. I have to write it down so we know. So searches is usually where there's something we call TAB key. So we have the title, abstract, keywords. Right? Good. So these are the essential elements. When you publish your study has a title, the study has an abstract body, and it has keywords. So these are the relevant components that helps other people who are searching for your primary study or who are searching for your contribution, scientific contribution, be it your systematic reviews or whatever. This is what helps them in being noting that this is what helps them in locating your study. Now we have what we call credible databases that are gold standard, particularly in healthcare research. We have the PubMed. We also have other databases that are known as CINA. See it here, EBSCO. So when you see EBSCO or CINA, so this is it. So some of these databases, what we need to understand is that some of these databases, if you're from LMICs, like countries like Nigeria and all these, your university might not have access to it. So Scopus is also known as Science Direct. So we can call it. So I'm opening all the databases to teach us so that we will understand. So mostly we don't have access to what? We don't have access to Scopus. Most schools also have access, or unless those of them in the UK. Tony, you will confirm that sometimes I put up the search strategy and I give it to you to put it inside the school portal or to search, then send back the data extraction sheet. So, but the wide, yes, okay, good, yeah, that's good. So most databases are not all that accessible, but PubMed is widely accessible. The Cochrane the European PMC is widely accessible. The Cochrane library is widely accessible for you to search. So the essence is that before we come out to say we are not seeing studies, we must have yeah, so trying to accept somebody. I don't know if someone is leaving and trying. Okay, all right, so I've accepted that. So before we put up our justification for not having studies, we must make sure we have conducted a very nice search. Now to talk about search strategy, now we've talked about the databases, and I've showed and I've listed them out, right? Good. Now there's something we call search trends. There's something we call what? Search trends. And we also have what we call Boolean operators. What we mean by what we call Boolean operators are those search trends that help us in doing what? In maximizing our search results. Now, for example, I might be interested in, I want to do a search, for example, so this will be my playground. Like I said, love among youths, right? Now, I want to do love among youths now. So, and I have what we call Boolean operators. We have 3 Boolean operators, called Boolean operators. They are the OR Boolean operator, we have the AND Boolean operator, and the NOT Boolean operator. So I'm going to tell us how we can apply it, because I'm going to run the practical now, and we'll see how it is being applied. Now, the OR Boolean operator is used to separate spelling variants from, it's used to join spelling variants, right, that are from the same compartment. Now, let's say we want to do a search now on love among youth now. Now, you just go online and search it this way. Or sometimes, we just go to Google, paste it. That's not enough. So what are we going to do? Looking at this study here, we're going to use what we call synonyms. We're going to generate synonyms of those keywords, of each of those keywords. And these keywords sometimes are generated from the title of the study. Particularly whenever you're formulating the research question, we generate these keywords from the title or using that PICO framework. So the P would help us, we generate keywords around P. For the I, starch, resistance starch, we generate keywords around starch. For comparator, we generate keywords around that. Sometimes not applicable. For the outcomes, we also generate keywords around that. Or traditionally, we can generate it from the title. Now here, we have 2 keywords. We have love and we have youth. Now, what are the synonyms of love? The synonyms of love can be emotion, it can be attraction, it can be, remember, the reason why I'm using this topic is something we can relate, because everybody is very crazy about love, right? Good. And now, the research question now is, what is the level of love? What is the level of love among youths? So here is globally. Good, fine. Now, even if here is going to be in the United Kingdom, I'll still show us what we are going to do. Now here, the keyword here is love and youth. So we need to do what? Find out what? Synonyms, or what we call free text terms. Free text terms for what? For the term love. So before we justify any, remember this title, this I'm explaining, also goes in line with what? The gap identification, because I'm going to also demonstrate that. Now, when we've generated the free text terms for love, now if we are doing, let's let's assume that we are interested in what is the level of depression-induced love among youth. Now let's assume that we have depression here, right? Depression or induced depression as another keyword to consider, right? Then that means depression is a medical term. Now there's something we call mesh terms. Mesh terms. Now if you look at this demonstration that we have here, mesh terms means medical subject headings. Now this we live in an era now when we have artificial intelligence. We have a lot of tools out there that have actually been put out to support us in writing and all that. Gone are the days whereby you might say, okay, you want to go to PubMed, or you want to go online and say list mesh terms for depression. Now, mesh terms now means that what? Now this is the number that is assigned to what? Depression, mood disorders. So you now have to do what? go through all these words and combine them before you do what? You start your search for literature. Now, look at the point now. Don't get confused. Now, what are we trying to say? Now, mesh terms are used for what? Medical terms. Instead of us using just free text terms, we can combine free text terms and what? Mesh terms. So, back to basics. Now, now, we have love, we have youth, and we have what? Depression, for example. So, that means we are going to look for both free text terms for depression. Maybe, let's say, for example now, it can be anxiety, it can be mood disorder. In terms of the free text terms, let's say now for the mesh terms now. Let's say we take this. Affective disorders.
Sorry.
Hold on. Let me hold on. There'll be time for question. Hold on. So we have other terms, for example. And let's say we have mental disorder. Just hold on. You should hold on with your question here now. So these are like synonyms, free text terms, and mesh terms for what? For depression. Remember, I haven't explained this. The use of what? Boolean operators. I call this Boolean operators. Now, these are the three keywords. This is keyword 1. This is keyword 2. This is keyword 3. I don't want to use that one there already, so that it will not look as though it has already been formulated. I want to use something entirely new, a new sheet, so that we can understand it. That is how the understanding is going to flow. Now, let's say for youth now, what are the synonyms of youth? Or what are the free text terms for youth? Let's say we have adolescents, we have young adults, we have individuals aged, let me say, for example, 16 to 25. Get the point now. We have, maybe we can put, you look for synonyms here. We can call them, for example, let me put enhanced juvenile. I'm giving an example, though. I'm just giving an example, please. And then we have younger adolescents. Please, let's get these concepts clear because we'll still have questions to ask. Now, we are interested in search strategy one at a time. So, let me say these are just what I got right now. Now, understand that these Boolean operators now, we use the or Boolean operator to combine spelling variants in the same compartment. So that means if we want to do a search now, we're going to bring in the or Boolean operator here, or. Now here, since it's two words, you must use what? You use this. Now we also have what we call brackets. So you can put in your brackets as well. We use the brackets to also enhance the search strategy. So please let us, right? So I don't want to give so much example. Let me just stop here. Psychotic. This is a single word. And what? Mental disorder. So this is just going to explain Boolean operators. Now for youth, we do the same thing. We combine it with what? We use the or and all that and all that and all that. So I'm going to hurry that up. So the essence is that we know how to identify, because for you to identify gap in literature, you must formulate a comprehensive search strategy. So that when you search another, identification of gap is just when you've searched on those databases. You remember that the gap identification process is subjective. You're looking for a topic and you've formulated your research question. Remember, the PICO framework also applies here. So or the PO framework, whatever framework you're using, you've identified the gap in literature. So what's the next thing to do? For you to identify the gap in literature, you need to do what? Have a comprehensive search. Then you record your results. You can now state this is what you found versus this is not what you, because you cannot be able to exhaust all the databases as a PhD student. You cannot. You can. You only exhaust the databases that you have access to. The gap identification, even if you have French studies, you will not see, you still miss gaps. There are still missing gaps in literature. So this is now the OR Boolean operator is used in separating spelling, is used in combining search terms within the same variant. The OR Boolean operator is used to combine, we use it to combine search terms within the same spelling variant. So that is what we use this for, the OR Boolean operator. So that means for the AND Boolean operator, we use it to, now we use the AND Boolean operator to combine search terms from different spelling variants, right? Now, why the not Boolean operators, the not Boolean operator, we use it to exclude terms not needed in the spelling. Right. So here now, let me assume I want to get a comprehensive search strategy, right? So now I'll have another bracket here. So this is going to cover every other thing. So to join this that is marked in red and this that is marked in blue and this that is marked in black, then I'll use the AND Boolean operator. So let me give it another different color. So we'll not start quarreling with me. So let me give it another color. So we here, we're going to use it with AND. So please, this is how to search. Then we close it up here with what? A full bracket. Right? So now let's assume, somebody might have said, we haven't used the not Boolean operator. Now let's assume that we are not interested in a certain term here. We don't want a certain term to appear in love. Maybe your ex broke your heart. Now, sorry, I don't know what to say. Okay, so you don't want a certain word to appear here in this particular spelling variant now. Or maybe let's say among Sienna in emotion. You can come here and put no here. Not maybe we're not interested in hits, or remember we are still combining it there. We are still combining it there because the not and are principal Boolean operators. The not and are principal Boolean operators. So the or is like a unit Boolean operator that we want to use here now. So we can actually put maybe whatever. If we are not interested in anything stress, right? So this is it. So we take it. So we use remember, we use the or to combine, we still use it here to combine in as well as we put it inside there. So you're going to put it at the very end of your search string, then we'll take it. We want to identify gap in literature within love and whatever, and youth. So we come to PubMed here, we put it here, we search. Now, one thing we need to understand here clearly is that, there are other considerations we need to put in here. So before I even start looking at this now, before I start looking at this, the search results here, let me put it in another database. Let me put it here, So the Boolean operators and brackets and truncations are widely recognized in the PubMed, Google Scholar, and the European PMC, So that's why I'm not really doing anything about Web of Science here, because it will be a lot of, strength for matter. Sorry, I want to reply your text now, please. A minute. So, my doc, so before we say we want to identify gap in literature, so that means it's going to be very, like, you have to read a lot of papers, control them here. Remember, gap identification is based on, we have a lot of relevance. We have a lot of criteria, to state that, yeah, we've actually identified gap in literature. Is it by date? When we must have searched from 2019 up, this is not available. This is available. If we put it here now, if we put it here since 2019, that means we're still going to come here. We go to the year here. Customize range. Say we're interested in 2019. Start date 2019. 01. Then we are interested in today's date is what? 2023. What? Today is gonna say getting it out. Today is what's this month? 09, right? 07. So we have to just apply that, and it has reduced. So that means for your gap, if you search from here, so you have to, as a PhD student or whatever, you have to read a lot of papers. They say from literature extensively. From here, this is what you found. Right? So you begin to record your reason. You export all this and this are what you found in this trend in terms of the participants who are involved. For young people, based on your P, these are what you found. Based on your I intervention, these are what you found. Here, you combine your findings. So it's not something you wake up one morning and you generalize, you come into conclusion. Just like, I think I found someone that was saying that finished a cross-sectional study, I ended it. It's therefore the effect of this. That was very funny, but just like using a cross-sectional study to determine effect, and that's very dumb. So back to basics here. So this was the search strategy. You remember how I did this? Before I know you have some food in your mouth already. You can't wait to devour me. So here. So what we do here, we put it in here. Now, based on your inclusion and exclusion criteria, remember, for you to claim that you haven't seen something, have you searched on Ovid, Medline Ovid? So you put here too. Okay, so I think there is a mistake there. The truncation it doesn't let this truncation, so I take it out. So if you remove all these truncations here, it's going to yield. I even forgot. So that's it. So let me show something here. So if you remove all those not truncations, what do you call it? I don't know what am I saying. If you remove all those parentheses there, not parentheses, it's going to yield immediately. So this is the search strategy. For this study, so we took effect. We looked for frequency stands for effect, effectiveness. So these are the Boolean operators that were used: the or, the star. Okay, I've minimized this actually. So for this tabularly, this is it. For resistance starch, this is it. So these are the entry terms for resistance starch, type 2 diabetes mellitus, and all that. So we're still working with love there. So what you do next here is you go to your inclusion and exclusion criteria, right? You go to your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Before you start extracting these references, the first thing you do is you go to your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Are you interested in randomized control? So to minimize headache, so you take randomized control trials. Remember, I put the search term from 2019 whatever to 2021 because I want really something very recent. Then I put observational studies, maybe if I'm interested in cross-sectional studies, cohort, blah, 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 blah. I'm not interested in meta-analysis. I haven't ticked that, so it's not going to be there. So as you can see, it's reducing here. Then the year duration, you can control it here, as you can see. So I'm only interested in human studies. I'm only interested in studies published in English, right? So if there are French studies here, it's going to go out. Okay, so also because this class is comprehensively for the search strategy, and I'm only interested in, I'm going to exclude preference. Remember, I talked about preference. So there are still other additional filters here, you know. Oh God, I can mark all this, you know. So in terms of gender, I'm interested in infant study, whatever, preschool. So this is your P. If you're working with adults, young adults, and other, so you can include as many. Yeah. So if you're not, you can remove it. So then you move up to other criteria here. It's very simple. So now this. So you go to age, you go to sex, go to language, species, article type. So that's all. So you include what are you looking for? Are you only interested in newspaper articles? Are you interested in so whatever? So but what we need to understand is that these additional filters and all this doesn't really apply for all databases. Like for example, now the Google Scholar is a very liberal organization, is a very liberal database that even just puts in lots of articles from. Puts in lots of articles, both social studies and all that. So to show an example here, I'll also show another example. You might ask me what are truncations and proximities and white cards. So there are some certain words that have British and American meaning. So we'll have to separate them with what? White cards, but they are not really shown here. That's why I said every study is distinct to each other. But I want to demonstrate brackets are here also. So I want to demonstrate. Now also remember, I talked about your search strategy before you conclude. Before you conclude that you're not finding any study, you must search on the reference list, right? So the strength of this study is that also search was also conducted on reference list before using all these search strengths. So if I want to search on this now, you must add what's this 1 million, 30 million here. It is the individual hit for each compact. So when you search only this one, you add, when you search it on PubMed, like let's say for example now, I search only this. I come here now. Let me clear all filters. Where is that? I've removed all the filters. So let me say I search here. So this is what I've got. I'll add it to what I will get here. I also add it to what I will get here. So for now, I want to just use the available database. Yeah, so I think this is just, this. I told you guys the minute you remove the apostrophe, it's definitely going to use. So you add it to what you get here and others as well. So that's the hit here. So for this resistance starch, the same thing applies, right? So I'll assume entertain question. So you add it there and you get it, right? So these are mesh terms for resistance starch. So you look it up. It's very simple. I also that one will be the issue. You understand? There are a lot of artificial intelligence too that you can even ask. Please, I need mesh terms for resistance starch. It will give you all the mesh terms. I need mesh terms for this. It will support you with the mesh term. I need mesh terms for this. It will give it to you. Now separate it with the spelling variant, and it goes down smoothly. So now what I want to do now is so for this, now remember, you must have generated a comprehensive search strategy so that when you now search online, particularly for someone like Stanley, when you search online, you come up with your criteria, you record your reasons according to the components of the framework you use in formulating your search strategy. sorry, use a formative eligibility criteria. That will show you the perfect gap in literature. Now, let's assume now we want to use this as an example now, effect. So we come here, we put effect. So here, I'm going to put it and I'm joining it here. So we want to search for this study now. Like this study now, let me confirm if this review, Ogaga or Ogaga, sorry, if you're, okay, we have people, sorry, this is not an Igbo. We want to confirm if this study is going to go or not. So we put this and so we okay, so we close it up here back. Remember there is back here and this. So we take this. Now this is it, right? It's not something you wake up. It's not something you wake up one morning and you just look at liberal in the literature. No. Now, this title was formulated using this framework. It was formulated using the PICO framework. Now, based on the P, I'm done teaching the search strategy because I'm sure we can now formulate as many search strategies as possible. Now, based on the P, we are recording. Now, we want to identify the gap in that study now. We're using the PICO framework. We want to identify the gap using the PICO framework. Now, based on the participants, because a lot of people ask, I want to identify the gap. I want to identify the gap in literature. I don't know what has been done. What has not been done. So, sorry, I know it's being recorded, so anybody that's going to watch it will know. So, yes, so based on this now, we take our P. So with reasons now, so we're going to go through for this particular database here. So if you want to, if you're reviewing this with respect to looking at randomized control trials, you know, which is your design, then we will now have to start our judgment. So we've had with that too. So this study clearly now, we are definitely going to include it. So if I want to put this study, we open this study, we look at it now. Okay, I was saying something, you know, PubMed searches on abstract title here. This is title, abstract, and keywords. It doesn't search on the full text. That is why Google Scholar is a very, very weak database. Google Scholar searches on abstract, title, and full text. So you have a lot of studies there because somebody can be typing something in the full text and say the effect of starch, maybe something unrelated though, is going to what? Put it in here. So you have a lot of papers. So that is why whenever you're drawing gap in literature is usually drawn from what has current evidence looked at. Right, so you need to come up with credible database. I have searched on reputable databases. I have found that you record this one in terms of participants. It's associated with this. So that means there is literature, there is primary study on. Okay, now hold on. When you're searching for the gap in literature now, you're searching for systematic reviews, right? You're interested in systematic reviews now. For example, now let's say we just want to get in findings for systematic reviews now and meta-analysis, other review articles, what has been done. Now, that means based on this now, all these things are all review articles. So we can say we record this from so and so year. That means I have available evidence for type 2 diabetes. So that means you're definitely going to read a lot of papers because here he's searching from your title, abstract, and keyword. So you read this. So you have article on this. You read the next one. Or if you want to make a judgment based on title, that means you just have to be going through. You know, you extract all this, put inside an Excel sheet. You know, this you're interested in this, you look at this article. Let's say we are doing maybe mini article screening. You look at similar articles also. Looking at your title, you check another database, you do the same thing. You scope today. All right, so basically you outline your PICO framework and record reasons one by one according to what has been done here, and here, and here. So when you now, by the time you're now done, let's say your judgment was, you've made your judgment based on the widely available PubMed literature. You know, these are lots of articles, these are lots of areas, you know, you've gotten something on solve for Miria. For example, let's say an intervention known as Metformin, and it has focused on pregnant women, compared with placebo. Remember that your gap identification process is subjective, so it stems from how you're not able to coin it out. So you're now like, okay, from what you've now identified, oh, I can now see that I haven't seen pregnant COVID. I haven't seen pregnant, or I haven't seen neonates with COVID. Now, you've now made a point here, but then you now search for primary studies. Are there available literature on this? If there are no available literature on this, that means it's practically impossible for you to carry that review. So it's going to really be a very long session, because what we are primarily envisaging now is, well, how can we do that search, exhaustive search? How can we do that exhaustive search? So I can now stand out to say this review must be practically impossible because I haven't found that in the literature. So whenever you're searching for in-depth literature, you have to filter it down to the type of study you're looking at conducting, because in the rationale of a systematic review, now listen at it, you are writing down. In the rationale of a systematic review, you're establishing gap based on systematic reviews that has been done. So it means that when you're now searching on your databases, you're restricting towards systematic review articles. So you now establish a table for using your PICO framework to now say, based on participants, these and these and these and these are what are found. Based on your intervention, when you've read wide array of literature, because your supervisor can say, go and do an exhaustive search on this, or go and find out the gap in literature. I want to do maternal mortality. I want to study maternal mortality due to cardiovascular events among adolescents. Now I want to find out the gap in literature. So I said I format my search terms. I provide my framework. You know, do an exhaustive search, do a peripheral search, liberal search for that. Now look out for some of the studies that I'm seeing. Now if I'm establishing my gap based on current evidence, then I'm not going to use that to make my justification for that I haven't seen this. So it's 85% of your judgment will be based on what subjective reasoning. Because you have to go online, watch a lot of videos, thousands of videos. You know, you want to establish gap in literature and all that. You want to demonstrate this. You want to see if the recommendation that this particular article has made and all that. You know, the gap cannot be that yes here that so many of those articles are focused on using randomized control trials. So to the best of your knowledge, you're yet to see any summary of evidence using quantitative studies or using cohort studies. That's a gap in literature. And you search using cohort studies in your terms to check out if you can see that, and you don't find it. That means there is gap established. So if I want to search here, if I want to include the systematic review in my search term, I can also do that as well. So I also open another spelling variant and put search terms for systematic review. So, but then you're definitely going to miss out on some articles because there's some certain articles that might just put in the term here without putting systematic review. So the whole process of research is very exhaustive because once you pick up a term, right? Let's say for example, you pick up the tax now, monkeypox. You just do a wide search. Now, first of all, what do? You might decide to say, okay, let me put the systematic review in my. Let me identify gap based on range. Is there any current systematic review on this? What is available? I have found a social article by I cite this. I cite Better et al. Has investigated this and this and that based on my P. Now I cite this review. You're gonna put this. I remember I haven't put in the systematic review based on there hasn't been any current systematic review reviewing prevention and treatment of monkeypox. So for me, and I can establish a gap. Then the next thing is to search out, included articles that are reporting prevention and treatment of monkeypox. So your gap identification process, for you to say there is gap in literature, it means that what have you searched based on publication date? What have you searched based on maybe not stuff like language, based on review? What are current available evidence? Now, if you want to search from inception and establish your gap from inception, then you have to throw this out, search systematic review articles, use a table, provide a table. This should be a table. This is a table. Let's do this is the practical here. So this is a table. You provide a table for yourself, right? So this is going to be your participant, depending on the framework. For you to identify any gap in literature, you must use a framework. That is why the framework for your search, for your eligibility criteria is very, very paramount, because that's that framework that you use to do establishing the gap in literature. So yeah, you put participants, you put intervention and all that. So you begin to record all the reasons and studies that you're finding based on here that could be, you could add your criteria. So you can insert to the left. So here now is participant. You can add your criteria based on the year, based on current, based on 5 years ago. What have you found? So it's a very exhaustive process. So for anybody that is wanting to do, maybe you want to do any form of, you want to do systematic review, your PhD, or you want to do any form of advanced research, you're trying to formulate the title. Your search, you must do liberal search. You search your term. You put in your filters. You also search on Cochrane. I can come on Cochrane here. I can come on Cochrane here and search monkey. So I come to Cochrane here. I search on monkeypox. Then I have to go through all the results. And you see, it has already filtered by year, because the year of publication is very, very crucial, because every day reviewers need current evidence. So I hope that puts that to bed, for the whole gap identification process and all that for it. So you can formulate our title, send it to the group. We properly critique it and know, yes, this is what we've seen inside of the literature and all that. Then we know the ones to throw out or trash out. So that being said, I don't know, back to this search strategy here. I'm sure we really understood what I explained here very thoroughly, and I'm hoping we are getting our inclusion and exclusion criteria and the search strategy as well before we make any claims. I don't know if that's very clear, because I want us to speak about it. I don't know, is that very clear from what I've said?
Yeah, it's clear. It's just that I have question.
Okay, all right, okay. I don't know, Tony, did you get me? Okay, all right.
I can't hear you, please. Dr. Tony, I can't hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, okay, good. Okay, beautiful. So that's all right. Yes. Okay, good. Mr. Dr. Chidera, can you understand? Did you get what we're saying?
Yes, yes, yes. No, he said something about extracting paper, like where you have
Okay,
your search, be where you want to pick out some papers. I think that was what he said. So if you want to
yes.
extract them, uh,
Okay. All right. Okay. Beautiful. So, and Florence, do you have any suggestion concerning about the search strategy? Florence. Okay. Innocent, are you here?
Yes, I'm with you. Actually, I've understood gray. It's kind of very gray, but I hope that when I start practicing it, if I have questions, I'll revert.
Felicity, are you with us? Fells. Okay, shit. I think this probably must have joined. Yeah, I don't know if the meeting is taking so much long. Okay. All right. So all right. So we are going to do that now ASAP for Stan because I wanted to be sure they are all following. So not to be sure people are sleeping now. So Florence, I don't know if you're still back. You're back here. Okay, she's not. She's not. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Hold on. So let's do. Okay. So. I'm trying to, I'm trying to, my system. Okay, all right. So, okay, so we have, sorry, light just went off on my side. I don't know. I'm trying to get my keyboard light is not showing. There's no light in my room currently. No, please, a minute. I'm trying to put, let me see anything now. So. My name is Stanley now, and I want to, yeah, oh God, my light, I don't even understand this thing. So now I want to write on monkeypox. So wherever we stop now, I will continue by explaining to you, right? So that's what I want to write on. So and I want to use the Pico framework. Pico framework. So right. So I want to know. I want to find out from studies. I want to do a systematic review around monkeypox, and I'm also looking at the year. I'm putting the year in consideration, you know, and also I want to, I'm not like I'm putting the year in consideration now. I will deal with what, on Monday, I'm going to show us how to extract references into EndNote. and from EndNote move it to Excel. But now what I want to explain now is the concept now, the entire concept that you need now to understand, the basic step now that you need, because this whole process of identification of gap, a lot of people have had a lot of issues, and most times when they just bring a title and say, yeah, I want to work something around here, please can you help me identify the gap, and in like 3 hours I've told you that I haven't seen anything on this, but they are primary studies, and everybody's like, how come, another. So that's what I want to show now. Now we want to work on monkeypox, right? And this is what we are considering. We are considering if it's going to lead us to this, or maybe it's going to be something that will require us using the spider framework. The spider framework, right? So now, first of all, what we need to do now is we need to do a lot of wider reading. Right now, we need to understand the terms, the mesh terms for what? For monkeypox. Let me do it in a layman's way now. So let's say, okay, yeah, we're looking at, oh God, I don't know this. Okay, let's say I want to search widely now using mpox and monkeypox now, for example. Oh God, I don't know which one is man, I don't know. For example, I want to just do that right now. So let me just, because I don't want to use bias in knowledge, to judge my gap in literature. So I'm going to concentrate now on just one database. I'm just going to concentrate on what do you call it? I'm just going to concentrate on PubMed. I'm assuming that I haven't done. We are assuming that none of us here knows about this now, right? So first of all, now we want to know the available literature on monkeypox based on what? And now monkeypox now is a type of study that might involve. I hope I've cleared all my. Now monkeypox is a type of study now that might involve both human and animal studies. So mostly animal studies, will be in your inclusion and exclusion criteria. So, and the epidemiological term now of interest now is we have several epidemiological indices that we might use to exploit this. Might be prevalence, incidence, other terms like maybe some kind of epidemiological factors or terms that are important variables for us to, that are not just important variables, that are our phenomenon of interest. So I just put this now on just systematic reviews, right? Just like I said before, to look out, what has been done now.